Well, good morning, everyone. We're in Daniel chapter number 6 today, and this is another one of those familiar passages. Even if you haven't read through the Bible or even through the book of Daniel, you may know about Daniel in the lion's den. And so, but you may not know how it all plays out because you may have only seen it in maybe a devotional book or even read it to your kids in a kid's devotional. But in Daniel chapter number 6, we see something different happening. Daniel, like I told you the other day, is he's going to not only survive Babylonian captivity, he's going to actually live longer than two of the kings. The king that captured him, then his son, and now we're up to King Darius. And what's interesting is that even King Darius loved Daniel. There was something about Daniel's character, something about his spirit, something about the way he handled himself that he was always in the center of people's lives. The only people that didn't like him were the people that held same positions with him or got passed over in a position for him because he was a foreigner. And so that's what's happening here in this particular chapter. Some of his competitors for his job. I mean, Daniel's not competing. He gets placed because he just lives right and he gets advancement. And those that aren't living right don't get the same advancement because they're just not people of integrity, not people you can trust. And so even the king of a pagan nation knows he can't trust his own people because of their lack of integrity. And so they come up with a law that's going to forbid Daniel from doing what Daniel always does before the Lord. They knew they couldn't get him in an area of character integrity. The only place they could get him is where he worshiped his God. He knew that he was very devout and he would always pray 3 times a day facing Jerusalem and with the curtains open. They knew he always did that. So they passed a law forbidding that they could only go to the king for their matters. And so they get the king for whatever reason to sign this order. And in verse number 10, here's how Daniel responds. It says, "And now Daniel knew that the writing was signed. He went to his house, and his windows being opened in the chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime." See, that's the key right there. Most believers run to prayer when they suddenly see that, oh no, they're going to pass a law, so I'm going to run to prayer. Oh no, a new law has passed. I'm going to be heavy about prayer for a week or so. Daniel did it every day, and he had done it his whole life. And so when the law is passed, he goes right back to doing what he always did. And he knew that the Lord would either take him home to be with him or he would spare him. And so he didn't have any fear, especially since the decree was that if you didn't do it right, you were thrown into the lion's den. Well, Daniel does it right before his God, but not right by the decree that Darius was tricked into signing. And so, of course, they immediately bring Daniel to the king, and the king says, oh, wow, I hate my law. I can't believe I made this law. And so he knows what he's got to do. It's just the rule of law. He has to throw Daniel into the lion's den, but before he does, he says, I know your God's going to protect you. And so the king prays all night and fasts. This is how much of an impact Daniel's life was having, even on this king that had trouble worshiping the Lord on a consistent basis. And what's interesting is after he's fasted and he's prayed all night, he goes to the den to check and see if God had saved Daniel's life. And this is what Daniel says in verses 21-22. He says, "Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angels and shut up the lions' mouths, and they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocence he was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they take him up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God." And see, that's the thing, is that we spend a lot of time doing it our own way in this current age. And I want to encourage you, trust the Lord. Daniel trusted the Lord all the time. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't a seasonal obedience because times are tough. Daniel purposed in his heart that he would serve the Lord way back when he was captured. And now he's still doing it, the third king later. And God is rewarding it. This is not something that God gives to somebody who remembers to pray at the last second. This is something that happens for people who consistently walk with God and trust God for everything. See, the lesson we can learn from Daniel is a lifetime of following the Lord will cause you to be spared when the unfortunate things come about in this world because of malicious people. Remember that God is the one that protects us from the malicious people. And so make prayer a specific part of your day. Make worshiping the Lord a specific part of your life. Don't run to it when it's tough. Live in it all the time, and you will see God do amazing things for you. As it turns out, whoever was the authors of the law that put Daniel in the lion's den in the first place, that the king was tricked into writing, he took all those people and threw them in the den. And what's interesting is the lions were very hungry because they had waited a day to eat because Daniel was protected by the Lord. And so just keep that in mind, that our enemies have to answer to the Lord as much as we rely on him. And so I want to encourage you with that today. I hope that's a help to you. Look to Daniel chapter number 6 for all the rest of the details, and you'll see how a life of godliness will always come through for you when it looks like all is lost. Have a blessed day.